Hello and welcome again. This video is about spiritual law. It's about the law of physics, motion, cause and effect, karma, Newton's cradle. Let's begin. Welcome. My name is Bill. I've been on the spiritual journey for over 5 decades. Been meditating for over 50 years, 55 years approximately. I have a lot of experience in the journey of awakening. This channel, Keys to Awakening, is all about the elements, principles, components of your life that guide and lead you towards the awakening of consciousness, the full and pure awakening. Now, this Newton's cradle that you see behind me is a toy, a model that's been built since the late 1600s, and it demonstrates the laws of motion and inertia. It's very interesting in the sense that as you look at it and as you're told about it, some things come to mind in terms of physics, but our spiritual world, our life in this dream called earth life, it's a holistic experience of physical, mental, and spiritual worlds all entwined. By looking at the laws of physics, one can get insight into some general principles about consciousness. Have you ever heard that term? What goes around comes around. You get what you give. These are rooted in these spiritual ideals that what you do in the world, your thoughts, your words, your deeds, etc., actually never leave you, because they're imprinted in consciousness and also at the brain level. Your thoughts, your words, and your deeds are accumulating here. It appears to reflect out and affect the world, but those experiences never leave us. Let's look at some ideas from maybe past scripture or wise men. Let's read together if you like. Do not be deceived. God is not mocked, for whatever one sows, that will he also reap. So in everything, do to others what you would have them do to you, for this sums up the law and the prophets. That was Jesus in the Sermon on the Mount. For the entire law is fulfilled in keeping this one command: love your neighbor as yourself. What you do not wish upon yourself, extend not to others. That was 500 years before Jesus. That's a quote from Confucius. The law of cause and effect is closer than you understand, closer than you think. They say what you think about accumulates or grows. What you focus on, energy flows in that direction. Consciousness is a very unique subject to consider. We've been reading about it for, like I said, 50 years, practicing meditation every day. But I've become aware that a whole group of people do not understand or know or do not really grasp the pure intention of thoughts, words, and deeds. Your thinking is important. What you do is important. How you act, who you interact with, and what your intention is really what we want to look at. You see, Keys to Awakening is looking at this jewel of consciousness, and as you remember all those facets, all those reflective surfaces on a cut gem. These are spiritual powers, metaphysical powers that exist within the human being. And one of those facets is directly related to your outgoing thought. You see, thinking is accumulative. If you're not thinking in a positive, creative, constructive manner, you're chipping away at your own diamond. You're chipping away more surface material, more divots, and you're refracting the pure light of being. So we want to look at our thoughts, we want to look at our actions and deeds, and we want to be conscious of this pure consciousness. You see, if we were to take 10 people or say 100 people off the street and to follow them very closely for say 10, 12 hours of their waking day, or even 16 to 18 hours of their waking day, say 100 people, 99% of those people, their mind is constantly going out into the world, into thought, into dreaming, daydreaming, fantasizing, reviewing the past, but mind is continually going out. Now this journey of awakening is to observe this and to slow this down and even to invert that energy in on itself. You see, we don't want to be like everybody else in the sense of unconsciousness, in the sense of not being awake and aware to their full potential. You can turn your attention inward and be part of the 1% that are really on a spiritual journey, that are really able to make progress as life unfolds. As we observe this Newton's cradle, we see that as the sphere or steel ball is moved out in one side, that there's an equal and opposite action or reaction. Newton's law was, for every action there's an equal and opposite reaction. Now, at the spiritual level, what that means, implies, and reflects is that for every thought, every word, every deed, there's a reaction, there's an effect. Every single thought, every single minute and hour and day. For every action, there's an equal but opposite reaction. What does that mean to us? Well, what it means is there's a time when we need to turn the mind down a bit, to slow it down. Slow mind or no mind. In Buddhism, they have a term, the no mind. When thoughts are going out, you're like everyone else, no problem. But the enlightened ones, the gnanis, those who have been on the path long enough and been given advice on turning the mind in on itself, turning attention inward, doing reflective time, doing meditative time. This is what generates a field of stillness. That stillness is already there, but it's behind the busy mind, the monkey mind. Behind that is a still, powerful energy. It's all available to us, but we need to turn the world off periodically. We need to take periods of time to turn the world off. This is called reflection time. It's called meditation time. You don't have to call it meditation. You don't have to fold your legs. What we're talking about is turning attention in on the dweller, in on the perceiver, in on the eye, following the eye to its source. So Newton's cradle shows you continuous motion, and this is like the mind. It's very much like the mind. Action, reaction. Movement creates movement. Thought creates thought. It's a continuous stream of thinking. Have you ever noticed? So, in the journey of awakening, and in this channel, Keys to Awakening, this metaphor of Newton's cradle can be of value to us to remember, what am I doing? Why am I doing it? How long have I been doing it? And what's the purpose? There's a time of not doing. There's a time of reflection. There's a time of meditation. If you're serious about fully awakening in this lifetime, you can do it. It's been done. I've been with many people who have achieved certain levels of awakening. Awakening is going on constantly. But if you look around the world, it's just not very apparent because it's a busy world with lots of distractions, lots of attention. But you know, when I get home at night, when I'm sitting in front of my TV, I sometimes reflect on what have I done for this day? Have I spent my time with my mind going out to people, places, things, events? Or have I spent any time turning the mind in on itself for the discovery of the millennia? The discovery of consciousness, pure consciousness. It's going on in front of you, it's going on around you, but it's not obvious. I hope this finds a place in your heart. Thank you.